Also, Brother Kadash, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders. Peace, blessings, honors to all the brothers in this truth. This title of this lesson is going to be called World War III. There's been a lot of talks, especially going into World War III right now, especially what is going on between America, Russia, America, China, Iran, Israel, some of the major players out there. It's been a lot of talks on World War III. So this is a quote by Albert Einstein. You will hear this quote a lot. They like to quote this whenever talking about World War III pretty much. It says, I don't know with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Pretty much saying that whatever weapons in World War III would be so advanced and so destructive that it would pretty much destroy the whole earth and destroy everything and take everything back to, the caveman days, the beginning days, pretty much he's saying that the next one would be fought with sticks and stones because everything would be destroyed during World War III. And if you look at some of the weapons, just look at Russia, which is going to play a major part in destroying America, which is Mystery Babylon. And if you just look at Russia, they got the Satan 1, the Satan 2. They got hypersonic missiles that could destroy the whole state of Texas. They got nuclear torpedoes that they shoot from a submarine in the ocean. Just some of the weapons, and those are the ones we know about. Same thing with America. They got weapons and different type of weapons that we also do not know about. So with all that being said, it's going to be a lot of destruction and places are going to be destroyed, and people aren't really fully understanding the fullness of what's coming. So we're going to get in the scriptures and just bring out some precepts. This is starting off with Revelation 16, right? Verse 12. I want to start verse 12. It says, and the sixth angel poured out his veil upon the great river Euphrates. And we know over there the great river Euphrates is drying up, and it says, and the water thereof was dried up. If you just go to Google and you just Google the river Euphrates, all type of information is going to come up about it being dried up. So it's doing exactly what it says in the Bible according to prophecy. It says that the way of the kings of the east may be prepared, right? And why is this thing why are they gonna be prepared? Quick precept, another precept to point to this real quick, because this is going to happen. This is so that's saying the Old Testament. So I mean, that's saying the New Testament. Sorry, that's saying the New Testament. So if you go to Old Testament, let me see where I can find it at. Old Testament, Joel chapter 3 verse 1, it says, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I should bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, right, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down. It's talking about the same event. So it's saying that the Lord's going to gather all these nations to go to war, and he's going to bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. It says, and will plead with them there for my people. And how's the Lord going to plead with them? Well, he's going to go to war with them. He's going to destroy them. That's why he's bringing all these nations, and it's the armies of these nations. If you go to Revelation chapter 19, it tells you, I think starting at verse 19 too, it tells you that the kings of the earth and their armies are going to try to subdue the Lord and fight against the Lord. Second Esdras chapter 13 too. It says, so he will plead with them there for my people. So is the Lord going to kind of like, talk to them and beg them? No, it's talking about he going to go to war. That's the way he pleads. It says, my people and for my heritage, Israel. So, who is salvation for? It's for his heritage, Israel. What does heritage goes into? Heritage goes into a bloodline, a seed line. So you actually have to be an Israelite by seed. It says, who they have scattered among the nations and parted my lands. It's not that everybody could be saved. It's that the Israelites were scattered amongst all people, and the Israelites that are scattered amongst all people in all different nations can have the chance to be saved. Now, if you jump back to Revelation 16, if you jump down to 16 straight to the point, it says, he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, and that's a very popular word, Armageddon. There's all type of games, all type of movies that goes into Armageddon. So Esau has been fascinated about this Armageddon day I mean, from the beginning of him coming back into power, he has been fascinated about this day because he knows that it's going to happen, and he knows that he's going to be destroyed. But Valley of Jehoshaphat, the River of Euphrates drying up, Armageddon. This is all going into World War III. You know, this big world war that's about to go on, World War III. Let's jump back to Revelation 6, because what you see on your screen right now is missiles, you know, coming out the silo. They could be nuclear missiles, they could be short range, they could be long range, they could be mid range, they could just be missiles that's not nuclear. But what you see is missiles coming out, man, and they have a target, you know, and they're going to hit their target, you know. And what's going to happen when they hit their target? Well, things are going to blow the fuck up, you know. Things are going to blow the fuck up. Revelation chapter 6 verse 12, it says, and I behold, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. You know, there's going to be a lot of blood shed from these things. You know, these things could come down and kill 5,000 people, could kill 10,000 people. I believe that's Psalms 91. You know, 5,000 or thousands should fall at your side, but it should not come nigh thee, meaning that destruction should not come to thee, even though a missile might hit and kill thousands and thousands of people on your side. This is all talking about this war that's about to happen, that we're right on the edge, you know. The door is open, you know, and it's about to happen, you know. And it says, you know, we always say that, you know, these things, when they come down, they're going to shake the earth to and fro like a drunken. So it's going to be like a great earthquake. And then on top of that, you have all the debris. You have the mushroom clouds and everything that goes up into the sky, and then it blocks out the sun, you know. Verse 13, and it tells you that in this verse, in this chapter 2, it says, verse 13, and the stars of heaven fell into earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So just like a fig tree casting her figs and they're falling down to the ground, is how these missiles look when they go up into space and they come down and hit their target. All this is going to be doing World War III. It says, in the heaven departed as a scroll, that's that mushroom cloud that we call mushroom cloud today, when it is rolled together and every mountain and island were moved out their place. What could cause that? These super hypersonic missiles, you know, we haven't seen one of these things go off yet. We haven't seen one of these things target a city and hit a city and go off yet. So when people do see it, and it's all being held for a appointed time, and when people do see these things, it's going to be, you can't even imagine, because we've seen atomic bombs go off, but we never seen a hypersonic nuclear missile destroy something. So that's going to, you can't even think about the destruction of it. And that's how the Lord plays it, you know, because it's all for a appointed time. It says, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, which is what? Your bunkers. They're going into their different bunkers, the Cheyenne bunkers, you know, these different bunkers they got in underwater, different bunkers they got in these different mountains and stuff around the world, you know. Every man is going to be trying to go into a bunker. I always like to quote the movie Greenland. Go watch the movie Greenland. Even though that's talking about asteroids coming out the sky and hitting different parts and destroying different parts, it kind of has the same effect. We know this is talking about nuclear war, because things like I believe it's Job chapter 20 talks about the iron weapon, the glittering sword. Isaiah chapter 34 talk about the Lord's sword, which is a weapon, should be bathed in heaven and come down upon Domium. You know, these precepts that I'm about to read points more to it being a World War III and nuclear weapons, because these things have targets. An asteroid don't necessarily have a target, you know, when it comes down. It just comes down, it's going to hit where it's going to hit. But this clearly is showing you that there's going to be armies. We know what comes with armies. Like we said, Revelation chapter 19, there's going to be armies. Revelation chapter 12. We know what comes with that. Well, their weapons come with that. And what are they weapons? What are they most powerful weapons? Nuclear weapons. What are the nuclear weapons here for? The Lord created them and gave them that technology. They're not just here on the earth for no reason. They're going to be used during an appointed time. Back in verse 16, it says, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall upon us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Because it's the Lord that's doing this. Like I just said, the Lord gave them this technology for an appointed time so he could use it. So they're going to be trying to get under the ground. They're going to be trying to get in bunkers so they can survive that wrath. It says, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who should be able to stand? You know, who should be able to stand? Nobody. Jumping back to the Old Testament. If you go back to here in Habakkuk, let me see. Is that right? Before? Nope. Oh man. Habakkuk chapter 2, right? Verse 2. I'm just trying to get to the point. It says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon the tables that he may run that readeth it." And that's what we're doing. You know, we breaking down these scriptures. That's why we bringing out all these precepts so we can make it plain. So there is no discussion. You know, if you watch this whole video, all these precepts I'm about to bring out, there shouldn't be no debate about if there's going to be a World War III or not. It should be clear as day. That's why I'm bringing out so many scriptures and breaking it down, is to make it plain upon the tables. It says that he may run that readeth it. Now you may want to run after I bring these precepts out and you kind of write them down, and then you go back later and you kind of read them yourself. You may want to run from the truth, man. You know, but verse 3, it says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time," just like the mark of the beast. It's all for appointed time. A lot of people couldn't see it, but you know, the elders and the apostles, you know, that we follow, you know, that we follow their teachings. Of course, you know, if you follow a person teaches, just be real about it, you know. Admit it, give them their credit. They did great work. You know, they had the eyes to see, you know, by the way of the Lord, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. They had the eyes to see before a lot of people that the mark of the beast is the microchip. So it could come in a jab form, and it could be nanobots. It could be so small that you can't see it, but it's going to be some type of electronical device, pretty much, you know. And it says that's for a point in time a lot of people couldn't see, but you know, it's a blessing that the apostles were able to see. And then it's a blessing that the Lord put the spirit on certain brothers as myself to believe in the apostles, because you could have went any direction and believed in all the different philosophies, but we believed in the apostles that had it right. And we're starting to see that. It says, "But at the end it shall speak." Same thing with the nuclear weapons. Why are there so many nuclear weapons on the earth? Because it's for a appointed time. It says, "And not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it." You know, because some man start to believe that it's not going to happen because it's tarrying. But it says, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. You know, so this is the time that's coming in too. If you jump down to verse 7, it says, verse 6, it says, "Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a Talmud proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long to him that letteth himself with thick clay?" Right? So you know the Roman Empire was the iron leaded with thick clay. But we know today that America, which is Mystery Babylon, which is Rome all over again, it's leaded himself with thick clay too, which is these EU nations, which is not as strong as him. We know these EU nations are going to turn on America and destroy it. You know, they're going to shoot nuclear weapons too, just along with China, just as long with Russia. You know, you're already starting to see them turn on this horror anyways, because I guess America did something lately, made some type of deal and cut out one of the EU nations, and they're mad about it. I think it was the French, but I'm not sure. And they were mad about it, and a lot of different ones of them were mad about it, you know, and that's just the beginning of them turning. You know, you have to do some research. Verse 7 says, "Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shall be booties unto them?" And how are they going to do that? They're going to shoot missiles on this motherfucker. You know, they're going to shoot nuclear missiles and nuclear weapons. And I'm going to give you a precept on that one so we can make it plain upon the tables, right? I believe it's Revelation chapter 17. Let me get to it off the top of my head. Revelation chapter 17, verse 12. Verse 11, it says, "And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, and is the end is of the seven, and goeth into perdition," which is America. America is the eighth, came from Great Britain. You know, the 12 British colonies or whatever. You know, that's America. You know, they fought for their independence. That's why you have a thing called July the 4th, which the Hebrew Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, is the ones that won that war for them, you know, and became America, Mystery Babylon, the great whore, you know. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet," which are talking about EU nations, you know. EU which, it goes back to 10, but now it's probably so much more because even if it's 20, it'd be 10 that broke off from 10 that could really trace themselves back to the original 10. If you have ears to hear, it says, but receive power as king 1 hour with the beast, beast, NATO, So you got a military side, you got a economy side. It says these have one mind and should give their power into the strength into the beast, right? Because they're allies, so they're supposed to come all together, sit at the table, have one mind. It says these should make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord, King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful, the elect. So they're going to make war with the Lamb. So how are these nations going to go to war? They go to war with nuclear weapons and fighter jets. Come on, this is simple. It's plain. It says, and he saying, and he saying to me, the waters which I saw, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. You got the whole world trying to be like America. Stop the fucking cap. If you say anything different, you trying to say that Mystery Babylon's the Vatican City, you capping. It's just straight bullshit. The whole world is trying to be like America. They try to follow our music because they want to follow the Jakes. They try to follow America dressing styles. You don't make it big until you dealing with America. If you a fighter, you have to come to America or have something to do with America to make it really big. Same thing with an entertainer. Same thing with business. Okay, let's keep going. It says, and the 10 horns which I saw upon the beast, they should hate the whore. So the 10 horns that was allies and had one mind and gave their power to the beast and the whore, because the whore sits on top of the beast, right? It says these should hate the whore. So something's going to happen to the point where they're going to turn on their alliance with America, and they're going to hate America. It says, and shall make her desolate. How do one nation make another nation desolate? Today they don't really have to send troops in and go to war like that. That takes so much money. So many people get killed. All they got to do now is press a button, and just like what's on your screen, silos pop up, missiles come out, they go hit their target. That's the best, most effective way. It says, and naked. So they're going to make her desolate by shooting nuclear weapons on her. And she'll eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Oh, look at that. And burn her with fire. So how does one nation burn another nation with fire? Or are they sending troops over there with with torches, fire torches, and kind of kind of committing arson, and kind of coming over here and getting torches and setting woods on fire, setting California on fire, and stuff like that. Is that how they set another nation on fire? No, they're gonna send a nuclear weapon. It's gonna explode, and fire is gonna come out that motherfucker and torch you. That's how they're gonna burn her with fire. To get more in depth of how they're gonna burn her with fire, actually we're about to go to it, but you could also read Malachi chapter 4. This is the Lord that's doing it. But this is Revelation chapter 8, which I already broke down this whole chapter. You could look it up, so I'm not going break it down again. I'm just going to get some of the parts. Revelation chapter 8, which is talking about the nuclear weapons, how it's all going to go down. Here, I want to get straight to the point. Verse 10, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, a gigantic hypersonic nuclear missile, went up into space, the heavens, and it's coming down. You can see it. And it fell upon the third part of rivers and upon the fountains of the water. And the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, meaning they contaminated, from debris, from radiation. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Exactly. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not on the third part, and the night likewise. Because over here in the Western world, the third part, 1/3 of the earth pretty much, is going to be destroyed. You ain't going to be able to see some sun. You ain't going to be able to see the moon. You ain't going to be able to see the stars, because it's going to be so much fire, so much debris, so many mushroom clouds from different nuclear weapons hitting America, destroying it. The whole place is going to be on fire, and smoke is going to go up for a very, very long time. So if you standing on this land, if you not the elect, if you don't the elite that get into their bunkers and survive, Even them are going to go into slavery after. We're going to come find them in their different bunkers and they're going to go into slavery, And but if you're not a part of that, then one of those two, their elect and the Lord elect, then you're going to be put to death. Verse 13, it says, "And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of the heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe," which is what? World War III. "To the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound," which is just going to even more destruction, all the way leading to the last trumpet when the Lord comes. Now, if you jump to, let's see where we got. Matthew 24 warned us about this. Matthew 24 is a very special chapter. I mean, it has to be one of the top chapters in the whole Bible. It has to be up there. It has to be top 10 for sure. Chapters in the whole Bible, because it's very special to us, because it tells us this, Revelations 24, verse 4, starting at verse 4. "And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you." So this is all in red letter. So it's coming directly from our Lord, which makes it even more important, and he's warning us in this chapter, and he's telling us how it's going to go down later on in the chapter. He's telling us not to be deceived. He's telling us that how he's going to come and what he's going to do when he comes. That's great. And he's telling us things to be prepared for. Verse 5, it says, "For many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars," World War III. We're hearing of it. "And see that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Why? "Because for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." How do kingdom rise against kingdom and nation against nation? Kingdom just mean like country now. Country versus country. Well, they go to war, and that war is going to be World War III. "And there should be famines," which is going to cause a lot of famines. Famines of money, famines of oil, famines of plastic, famines of food, famines of the word, the truth, famines of water, all that. "And pesticides," which we see today, which they're trying to claim that China, biological warfare. That's all I'm going to say on that. Which is going to be a lot more and a lot worse. "And earthquakes in diverse places," which we see. And all these are the beginning of sorrows. But it's just showing you that, look, there is going to be such thing as wars and rumors of wars. You're going to have wars on every level. Like I said, nation, country, shit, even in your own household. Mother versus father, like it says. Luke chapter, what's that, 12 maybe? Luke chapter 12, maybe we could try to find it. But there's going to be wars on all different type of levels, and people just got to deal with that and understand that. Let me see if I can find that precept, since I did quote it. Luke chapter 12. What is that? Verse 51. "Suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth, I tell you nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there should be 5 in a house divided." What's that divided? They go to war in a certain way, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. Father should be divided against son, son against father, mother against daughter, daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law, And I believe it also says that, I believe it's Micah 7 and 6. I believe it's Micah, or maybe it could be Malachi. I always get those ones mixed up, but I'm not going to go into all that. You could find it, Going into Ezekiel chapter 38. Which gives you more just insight of, how the Lord, I believe, used Russia, to play a part in destroying this whore, this great whore, which is clearly to see that that's America more than anywhere else on the earth. I'm just start at verse 1. It says, "And the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God in the land of Magog." It's talking about, you starting to talk about Russia in that area. It says, "And the chief prince of Meshech and Tabal, and prophesies against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tabal." Salaki. Salaki about that. It says, I will turn thee back and will put hooks into thy jaws and will bring thee forth and all thy armies, horses and horsemen, and all them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, meaning, they army equipment. Now they got bulletproof vests and different guns, AR-15s, night vision. They got helmets, boots, belts, all that type of shit, and all of them handling swords. Now, swords just really going to weapons. Weapons have evolved, but it's going to show you that the Lord's going to put that hook in them and turn them to go to war, and we seeing that happen right now. That hook is them having economy problems little by little because of what America is doing. Them suffering because of, which we know America is really behind the whole pandemic thing that's going on right now. So because of that, they know that behind the scenes too, and it's hurting these different countries. And these different countries that know who's really behind this is getting mad, and they're going to do something about it. That's all the Lord putting that hook that's going to bring them to go to war. So this place could be destroyed. Persia, which we know is allies, Iran, which is allies with Russia. Ethiopia, Libya with them, and all them with shields and helmets. What are they doing? It's called World War III. They're gonna go to war. Gomer and all his bands in the house of Tagarma and of the north quarters, and all the bands and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou according to them. They about to go to war, and they preparing themselves, and we're seeing it right now with the Cold War. It is a Cold War right now. All these nations are just scrambling to develop the best technology, the best. They just came out with some new jets, a new gen of jets, that's even faster and better and stuff, and they coming out with nuclear weapons, and they're kind of displaying them like, look, we got a new, like we said with Russia, we got the same too. Look, we got a new hypersonic torpedo, we got a hypersonic missile that goes in, and they're kind of displaying their weapons like, look, this is what we got now, because they're getting prepared, because they know at some type of time, at some point, there's 100% going to be, war, and they gotta deal with that, and that war, like we keep saying, it's going to be World War III, and this is going to be the war that's going to end it. Now, there ain't going to be no another World War IV, because the Israelites are going to come into power after World War III, and we're going to stay in power, and there is going to be peace on the earth at a certain time, and the people of the earth will rejoice when the righteous are in rulership, which are the Israelites, and all these weapons are going to be done away with, and there ain't going to be no war, because we're going to be in power, and we're going to be righteous. And as far as sticks and stones, come on, man, we're going to have a whole kingdom. We're going to have chariots and golden streets. It tells you that in Revelation chapter 20, we're going to have it all, so we're going to be very far from sticks and stones, but we're going to have spiritual power, and that's how we're going to get the other nations in check. We ain't going to need to go to war with weapons, because like it says in Zechariah chapter 14, we could no rain. If you don't come up and worship, you don't get no rain, so we gonna have the other nations in check. Yeah, we're gonna put them in slavery. Amos 9:11, Luke, what's that, 19:27. Bring them in front of me and slay them here, or slay them in front of me, roughly paraphrasing. So clearly it shows you that there is going to be another war with the world, World War III, and after that war and that destruction, the Israelites are going to come into power. No other nation, the Israelites. You have to be an Israelite by blood, and you have to be the elect. Going into Revelations chapter 7, we're going to be the first fruits of the kingdom. We're going to come in power, and then the rest of the Israelites will also be saved, because they will be reborn back in the kingdom. And then Matthew chapter 5 kind of speaks about that, called great in the kingdom, called least in the kingdom, depending on if you teach and keep the law, statutes, and commandments. It really comes down to if you're the elect or not. So with that, I'm going to say salvation to the elect. Shalom.